Shabbat Shalom, everyone. If you'll come in and find your seats. I don't think I've seen so much hugging at the beginning of a service. This is beautiful. Friends, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Temple Akiba of Culver City. We are so glad that you are here for Shabbat tonight. Not just any Shabbat, but we've got many parts to tonight. We've got Jill, who's becoming a bat mitzvah tonight. We've got Melania, who, oh my gosh, look at this.
That's amazing. I've never seen a sign at services.
We've got Melania, whose bat mitzvah is tomorrow. We've got baby Inez, who's being named tonight.
Yay!
And we've got a wonderful, I can't say guest, but a friend of Temple Akiba, Dr. Steve Wimmuller, who is, and his wife Michelle, but Steve will be speaking tonight. So Steve, we're glad that you're here as well, and we'll be introducing you a little bit later on. Friends, my name is Rabbi Zach Shapiro, here with Cantor Lonnie Freilich, our rabbinic intern from the Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion, Josh Shapiro. We welcome you. We're glad that you're here. When you come through the doorways of our sanctuary, we leave all of the raw emotions of the week behind, and we enter holy space. Not holy space because anything in the architecture, although that enhances it, but holy space because we're together. And we can spend this time together understanding what light and love and light really mean. We're going to open with the singing of Hine Matov. How wonderful it is that we are together as a community. We're on page 10 of our prayer books.
And you'll find your prayer books in front of your seats, or if you don't see it in front of you, there'll be hopefully prayer books behind you. And let us know if you can't find it. We have some helpers that can help pass out prayer books as well.
The prayer book is the smaller of the two books. There's a large one, and you'll see the smaller one there.
Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Let's try that again. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is. How sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is
to be together on this day. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
When a young person turns 13, she has an onus to fulfill a commandment for the first time. So we are going to invite our 13-year-old Jill forward, along with her parents, Sharon and Robert Rothblatt, to come forward for the presentation of the Talit. This is usually a prayer shawl that is put on during a morning prayer, but because Jill is becoming a bat mitzvah tonight, we're offering it tonight. It's in our prayer book on page 72. Page 72, everyone.
As I wrap myself in the talit, I fulfill the mitzvah of my Creator. Bless Adonai, O my soul, Adonai my God, how great you are. You are robed in glory and majesty, wrapping yourself in light as in a garment, spreading forth the heavens like a curtain. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu Lahitaf batzitzi. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who house us with mitzvot, commanding us to wrap ourselves in the fringes.
Okay, turn around. Take it from your parents. Kiss each side. And flip. And then hug and kiss mom and dad. We are now going to continue. We're going to invite Melania and Brian forward for the lighting of our Shabbat candles. We are on page 2, everyone.
Come over here. Press that button right in between. Okay. You have to keep it on there. Yeah. Almost.
Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Turning to page 5, everyone, we invite all who are able to please rise for our kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kosho, Be'ahava uvratzon, hinhilanu, zikaron lemahaseh, bereshit, ki hu yom tehila, lemikveh מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים.
Please be seated, everyone. What a pleasure it now is to invite up Inez with her parents, David and Carla, for a very, special blessing. And even though we're going to open the ark, we ask the congregation to remain seated. Josh, if you could come up also. May I take her for a second? Hey, sweetheart. Oh my gosh, I forgot how light babies are. Oh, they grow. David and Carla, when you first walked into our building for our Introduction to Judaism program, I knew that our space deepened with holiness. You both brought in a sense of goodness and newness and freshness. And you are the kind of people who, when you participated in class, the entire class brightened up. And on those days that you couldn't make it, I said, oh my gosh, I need to think of something, some way to add that same kind of enthusiasm. When you decided to become members of Temple Akiba, all of us rejoiced. And then when you told us that you were going to be having a tiny little new person, our smiles expanded. Our sages teach us that our Torah is the second most holy treasure, but that our children are the first. And so, little Inez, today you receive your Hebrew name. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, O God of our ancestors, bless this child with goodness, with health, with love, and with life. May she always grow to be a blessing to humanity and a giver of light and of goodness, which won't be hard because you, little Inez, have received that from your parents. On this day, if you schmutz my coat, that's okay. You receive the name Rina Bat Shimshon. You truly are a little gift of music and of goodness and of light and of glory. And may you always be a blessing not only to your parents, but to humanity. I'm going to give you back to Mom and Dad for a second so that we can give you a blessing. You got it? Hold on. One second. Let's put this around the three of you.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha Esem lecha shalom, shalom.
May God's light always shine through you and grant you the most precious gift, the gift of shalom, of peace. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone say Mazel Tov. I don't want to hold on. Take this back. I'll take this, and we'll give you. Who has a free hand? There you go. There you go. Mazel Tov.
We will be continuing our service with Lecha Dodi, and we are on page 20. And we're going to be doing today verses 1 and 9. When we get to verse 9, this prayer is about greeting the Sabbath, greeting Shabbat as if it is a bride. So we're going to stand, ask everyone to stand and face the entrance
At the end.
at the
I'm
end,
sorry.
at the end. On verse 9, I'll raise my hands to let you know, as if we are greeting the Sabbath bride. Yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la yalla la yalla la, yalla la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la yalla la yalla la, yalla la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Lecha dodi likra kala ya la la ya la la ya la la. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala ya la la ya la la ya la la. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor achad, Yishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shemu tiferet v'litila, Lecha dodi likra kala yalala yalala yalala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala yalala yalala yalala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. We rise and face the entrance to greet the Sabbath bride, and we're on verse 9. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'zola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi likra kala yalala yalala yalala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala yalala yalala yalala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Lecha dodi likra kala yalla la yalla la yalla la, B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Please be seated God for Melania.
Melania.
Melania will be leading us in our Chatzi Kaddish. We're on page 26.
Right in the middle.
Yikadal v'kadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma divra hirute ve'yamlich malhute behayehon uvyomehon uvhaye dekol beit Yisrael bagala bagala uvizman karim v'imeru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'alam u'almei amaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitzaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha
Brihu.
le'elam min kol birata v'shirata
Tushbehata v'nemata damiram be'alma v'imeru. Amen. Thank you. You can have a seat.
We now rise for our Baruch Hu on page 28.
And we're going to invite our adult bat mitzvah, Jill, to help us lead this prayer.
We remain standing for Shema on page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod
Please be seated,
Except for
Melania, who will be leading us in Ve'ahavta on page 36.
Just go from here.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzvaha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, vedibarta bam, beshivtaha beteiteha, ulechtaha vaderech, ushochbeha uvkomeha, ukshartam leot ayadeha, vehayu letotefot beineneha. Uktavtam al mezuzo beiteha uvishareha leman tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohehem ani Adonai Elohehem Asher hotzeiti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lahem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohehem.
Beautiful. So you're going to have a seat, and then you'll come back up. Sorry.
We continue with Mi Chamocha on page 40. Let us channel all these joys that we have here tonight into our joyful melody of Mi Chamocha.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tehi lo sefela Nora tehi lo sefela Back to Yalalai Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Malechutecha uvanecha Okei ayam lifnei Moshe Miriam Ze Elianu ve'ameru Ze Elianu ve'ameru Adonai imloch le'olam vad Adonai imloch le'olam vad Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 ya la 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 la
I'd like to invite Melania back up for our central part of our service, our Amidah, which begins on page 46. I invite you to rise in body or spirit.
You can use that. Do you want to use this one?
Adonai sefatai tiftach uviagit tehilatecha Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Gula libnei v'neihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah, Rav le'Hoshia, Mechalkel Chayim behesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanata lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom, Yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. We continue now in our personal prayers with the words on the page or in the words in our hearts.
Adonai, Suri.
Dear friends, I'm so excited to be able to have space for the voice of a scholar and mensch in our midst. Dr. Stephen Wimmuller is an emeritus professor of communal studies at the Jack H. Skirball campus of HUC JIR, the Reformed Seminary of Jewish Excellence. Josh will be a graduate of HUC in a year and a half. I was a graduate of HUC 20 years ago. And Cantorlani earned her degree, she earned her cantorial degree from the Academy of Jewish Religion in California. She also earned her degree in nonprofit management with Dr. Wimmuller in Los Angeles prior to your becoming a cantor. So during Dr. Wimmuller's tenure at HUC-JIR, he served as the director of the School of Nonprofit Management, and in 2005 was named the dean of the Los Angeles campus. And there's even since 2014, so for the past 10 years, an endowed chair in his name. Dr. Wimmuller, until pretty recently, was a resident of Culver City, but then he defected, and you live in Los Angeles now? In Sherman Oaks, okay. So we're delighted that you're here. Michelle, we're delighted that you are here also, a scholar in your own right of education. Welcome home to Culver City. And Dr. Wimmuller, we invite you forward to share words and to share from your insights. Thank you so much for being here.
We don't need a mic. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is so wonderful to be here with Jill and Melania and the new baby and her family and the naming of that wonderful opportunity to grow a Jewish household, and with my former student. Indeed, as I said to my wife, the topic this evening is anti-Semitism. And I said, what a downer. What an absolute downer in a moment of such joy and festivities for all of you. But in some reality, we have to live in this mix of a world where on the one hand, we are engaged in the celebration of Judaism as really part of the life cycle of our people and the destiny of our tradition. But on the other, we need to realize that our history has also been marked and marred by a path of racism and hatred. And indeed, when the Anti-Defamation League announced in 2022 that 3,765 cases of assault, harassment, and vandalism were committed against the Jewish people, and those numbers have grown both since that moment and prior to that moment, reminding us of the extraordinary story that this was a nation that did not counsel or commit itself in any way to the notion of the destruction of the Jewish people, and that its system of governance was always protective of the welfare of the Jewish community. And yet, since 2010, we have seen a marked increase in racism and anti-Semitism and attacks on minorities of all different groups and all different parts of our society. It has marked a moment in time where we have come to understand that this rooted hatred is not only tied to particular notions about the power or the misperceptions of power about Jews in their place in the society, but it is also about America going through a period of the loss of trust. Political scientists tell us that since 1970, Americans have lost trust in the institutions of our country, our Congress, our president, our courts, but also our religious and civic institutions as well. And that has contributed to this sense of separation, distrust, and the loss of support that once bound together people and that now divides us as a society. We are also living in a time in which the politics we encounter are divisive and challenging, and where such ideas as Christian nationalism and various notions about intersectionality and critical race theory and postmodernism and a host of other ideas have all created this kind of populist notion that the society has sort of lost its way and is struggling to find a way forward. And in that context, hate steps in. It becomes a kind of new reality of how a society governs and functions, or fails to, in a sense, engage with its populace. Indeed, what we have seen over these last 6 months in particular, since the events of October 7th in the Middle East, have noted the extraordinary notions of hatred directed against Jews, against Israelis, against Israel, against Zionism, against the notions that we were once a settled community, once feeling very much a part of the sense of nationhood and peoplehood. And much of that has been eroded and distorted. And over these 6 months, we received the reports from the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti-Defamation League and other sources, indicating to us this extraordinary growth in social media actions directed against Jews, Judaism, the Jewish people, and Israel. What we have come to encounter in this period is a new reality that where once we were perceived as a minority, we are now perceived as part of the establishment. We are seen as extraordinarily white. Now, what does that mean? For those who were demonstrating in Charlottesville in 2017, they said, Jews will not replace us. Now, what they were actually saying in this replacement theory is that Jews are seeking to become white or to bring to power people of color who would replace them, that is, white Anglo-Saxons, as if this was a race war, a power struggle for control. So our whiteness on the far right is perceived as a kind of notion that we are seeking to take over, to control, and to replace. And on the far left, the theory is that we are no longer a minority because we have become too white. We have become a part of the establishment. We are now seen as entrenched in leadership. And indeed, American Jews have been successful in business and in politics and in culture and the arts and in all other spheres of the society, but that makes us no more white or no more powerful than any other individuals or any other part of the society's efforts to include and encompass all people. But the reality is that this moment has created for us the struggle of how we respond to all of this. And indeed, there is a great deal of attention being given to that. The ads that you now see on television about being of concern to fighting back against racism and anti-Semitism are part of that. The efforts by the American Jewish Committee, the Anti-Defamation League, and others to engage with social media platforms and corporations seeks to respond to much of what we are seeing. The ability of the American Jewish community to mobilize its 10 major institutions to work together for the first time in a coordinated attempt at managing this crisis, whether in the public schools or in the public sector, or whether in terms of how and where American Jews see themselves in the context of their place in the society. The American communal system, the American Jewish communal system, is readily active. My sense is that overwhelmingly American Jews are telling us that they are concerned. Every major study of American jury today tells us that between 75 and 85% of American Jews see anti-Semitism as a major threat and challenge. And indeed, more than 50% of our kids on our college campuses are reporting to us that they have experienced some form of hatred or abuse or violence directed against them. And indeed, according to all the data we now have, many American Jews are electing not to wear any symbols of their Jewishness, a mezuzah, a Mogen David, a kippah, or any other effort to display their public Jewishness within the streets or in the communities in which they live. And that is particularly depressing and disturbing, because we want to be part culturally and physically of the society in which we are entitled to live, and to have security guards at our synagogues, and to require that we admit to all public places people only after they have gone through a kind of security check, is a reminder of how tense and how challenging this moment is. But the positive considerations for us moving forward are the following. The American Jewish response has been met well and with great regard by American political leadership. From those in Washington to Sacramento and here in Los Angeles, this effort to respond and be supportive of us and to be supportive of ways by which both legislation against hate, racism, and anti-Semitism will be dealt with. And accordingly, in the initiatives being taken today and elsewhere in public education, in universities, and in other such settings, to be more responsive to the threats of anti-Semitism facing our students, our kids, and being able to turn that back. We believe that part of the initiatives now will be about education, how we prepare our kids for college, how they understand what they may be facing in terms of postmodernist thought, or in terms of ideas related to the alt-right, the far right. They will encounter white supremacists as they will encounter postmodernists, and we must prepare them to understand the issues of Israel, the sources and context of American Judaism, and the status and history of all minorities in this country, because this is not simply the question of Jews in an embattled moment. This is about the society in its largest sense being responsive. This will take us some time, because the violence that is being experienced and the threats that are being perpetrated will not simply stop. We will see this in the context of this year's election. We know it in the confines of the events of the past 6 months. And we will see it as it evolves in other forms, unfortunately. But the agenda for us and for others who share with us this concern is to build an America where young people are aware of civics, which is no longer a requirement in many states, and becomes part of what we believe is essential for every young person in America to understand multiculturalism, civics education, and be given an opportunity to be exposed to the multiplicity of traditions and faiths and race and cultures that define the United States today. If we fail in the educational process and in civics learning, we will have failed not only ourselves, but our society and most certainly our kids. So the challenges then before us will be to be forever vigilant and certainly to secure all of our spaces and to make sure that our kids feel safe, protected, and that we are there for them. And that we are also there for the United States. We have been part of this culture from its inception, and we are part of it moving forward. And we will need to grow the connections we have with our politicians, with our civic leaders, with our educators, and with our communal professionals in ways that will allow us to expand the opportunities for all minorities to fully grow and blossom in the American story. Shabbat Shalom.
Dr. Wimmuller, thank you so very much for bringing insight and thought that will help all of us resonate with what we need to do in our next steps. What's so appropriate about your being here on this Shabbat is that we've got this example of a mother-daughter who one day apart are becoming bat mitzvah. And that dedication to our values across 2 generations, that highlights so much of what you're talking about. That we stand firm, we stand proud, but we don't stand frozen. That we reach to the future and we learn from one another generation to generation. And so thank you once again for bringing that to us. And as we transition from your words to words of Torah that Jill will bring to us tonight, we realize that we don't shy away from these symbols of Judaism because they're in our heart that will always grow and grow. And so with that, we are going to turn to page 246, and we invite all the congregation who are able to please rise for Seder Kriyat Torah, for the service for the reading of Torah.
And Jill, we're going to invite you up to help open the ark. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udevar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shamo.
God Luli Adonai Tiu Neromema Shemo Yachdav. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam, Omei, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam, Omen. Al HaTorah, Ve'al HaAvodah, Ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. Al HaTorah, Ve'al HaAvodah, Ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam, Omei. Al Shlosha Devarim.
Al shlosha devarim. Al shlosha devarim. Haolam omein. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Torah li, Torah li, Torah sheli. Torah li, Torah li, Torah sheli. Torah, Torah sheli. Torah, Torah sheli. Ani sameach, ani samecha, ani sameach, ani samecha. Torah, Torah sheli. Torah, Torah sheli.
Friends, if you'll put your prayer books away and you'll find in those seats in front of you the larger Chumash, the Torah commentary, if you take those out, even though we, in our Torah cycle, are in the book of Leviticus right now, when Jill originally prepared for her adult bat mitzvah, the original date was last fall in November, and she studied from the book of Genesis. And when we had to change the date, we didn't make her learn a whole new Torah portion. So she will be chanting from Chayei Sarah. It's again on page 250. This is back in the Genesis cycle, page 250. And we are going to officially call for her aliyah, Ta'amod, 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 Yochevet Eliza bat Berel Yitzchak v'Shena Anna. We now invite Jill Sowell for her aliyah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayakom Avraham Vayishtahu la'am haaretz livnei ched Vaydaber itam lemor im yesh et nafshehem likbor et meti milfanai shema'uni ifiguli Befron ben Sohar, Vayiten li et Maharat Hamakpelah, Asher lo, Asher Biksei Sadehu, Behesef Malei Yitnena li Betochechem La'akuzat Kaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betoheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Torah.
You're going to say the same thing to her that you do to all of our kids?
Yeah, I am. So you're going to go do your speech.
While Jill is grabbing her speech, anyone here who has become an adult bar or bat mitzvah, can you just please stand up for a minute? Anyone from Temple Akiva? You are joining a long line of extraordinary people in our community. Now, you guys can sit down. Is there anyone here who is thinking of becoming an adult bar or bat mitzvah? Ah,
They're in my class
terrific. All right, so you guys are next. And if you're not thinking about it, but you're thinking about it, Cantor has an extraordinary class that she teaches every year.
Good evening. I'm Jill Sowell. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. My Torah portion came from Chaya Sarah. In it, Abraham's wife Sarah has passed away. He is concerned about securing the Jewish lineage and wants to find a wife for his son, Isaac. He has his servant go back to his homeland to find a wife with kinship to him. The servant meets Rebekah, the daughter of Abraham's brother, who passes the servant's secret tests and agrees to return with him to Canaan to marry Isaac. The principle raised in the portion about it being important for Abraham that the son who he has chosen to pass his birthright to marry someone from his tribe and religion struck me. I understand why, in Abraham's time, he felt these requirements were important for the preservation of Judaism. The question for me is, what importance should sharing a race and religion be when considering life partners for the preservation of culture, heritage, and religion today? My story of how I got to this point in life without becoming a bat mitzvah is not unique. My parents were raised in Orthodox homes. My father's relationship with Judaism was rooted in tension with my grandmother wanting their family to be more observant than my grandfather did. My dad was a reluctant bar mitzvah who spent most of Hebrew school in the rabbi's office for being the class clown. My mother grew up in a kosher, observant home, but she, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother were not allowed to be part of the shul in a meaningful way. Their value was in preparing for the holidays. So when it came to me and my two sisters, our Jewish heritage and identity were largely rooted in the home and Jewish cooking. We observed the high holidays by not riding, using money, or working, and had holiday meals. There was no synagogue within walking distance, and services weren't meaningful to either of my parents, so we didn't attend them. My mother mandated that the three girls each go to at least 1 year of Hebrew school, but after that it was up to us if we wanted to continue. It was an old school Orthodox Hebrew school, genders competing against each other while taking turns to reading lines of Hebrew letters. Maybe you had the chance to read once or twice in the whole 3 hours. When I had the choice to continue or not, I opted out. My brother Richard was forced to go all the way through and become a bar mitzvah. At the time, I felt bad for him. As I got older, I turned more to the traditions and culture of being Jewish and farther away from Jewish institutions. At college, I never joined Hillel, but I took 2 courses on Jewish culture and history. I practiced my Judaism as I was raised. I did not attend classes on the high holidays. I fasted and broke the fast with my sister and future brother-in-law. I lit Hanukkah candles and had mini seders in my dorm rooms with friends who were mostly not Jewish, but very supportive. In my adult life, I found friends to continue doing holidays with. A few months after our wedding, my husband's sister and I were leaving a Yankee game at Angel Stadium. We were walking behind a couple holding hands where one was dressed in Red Sox gear and the other was dressed in Yankee gear. I turned to my sister Rachel and my black Catholic husband, Brian, and said, I could never be in a mixed marriage. They looked at me, befuddled, to see if I was kidding. I wasn't. I was confused by their reaction at first, and then the absurdity of what I had said hit me. So I clarified, mixed where it matters, baseball and politics. My parents were both born in the Bronx. I am a born and bred Yankee fan. While I met my husband in college in Providence, Rhode Island, he was actually born and raised in the Bronx and also a Yankee fan. His parents grew up in Queens, not far from my dad's family. While our race and our religions are different, we were raised with similar values about the importance of family and education. As transplants in Los Angeles, our shared New York roots bring an understanding, comfort, and a common language. For the last 20-plus years, I have attended St. Monica's, Brian's wonderfully welcoming Catholic church, with him for holidays and days of holy obligation. I am always comfortable being there in support of him, while I am always clear in my core that it isn't my tradition. However, every time I've stepped into a temple for services, I have known it was my tradition, yet felt uncomfortable, an imposter who didn't really belong. It made me sad that I understood the rituals and rhythms of Catholic Mass more than I could follow a Jewish service. As an adult, I no longer felt bad for my brother. I felt that I had missed out. Being in an interfaith marriage is simple, as long as you respect each other's rights to have different beliefs and support your partner in the relationship they choose with their faith. There are even benefits. No drama about which side you're spending different holidays with. However, to Abraham's point, parenting an interfaith child is a trickier line to walk as you decide how to guide their religious journey. Brian and I, with our shared values, made the conscious decision to give Melania a preliminary education in both of her family's faith traditions so she could develop her relationship to religion from a place of knowledge. With my own Hebrew school history, I felt it would be hypocritical of me to insist that she become a bat mitzvah. We are here this weekend because Melania chose this path of becoming a bat mitzvah. I knew that the parents typically do an aliyah at the bat mitzvah service. My understanding was that you needed to be a bar or bat mitzvah to read from the Torah. I recognized that it couldn't be Brian, so it was going to have to be me. So I began the process of becoming a bat mitzvah myself. At the end of my year of the adult Hebrew class, as a family, we attended the mock mitzvah for the sixth graders, where Rabbi had the class cover their ears and told the adults, actually, if you're under 13 and Jewish, cover your ears. That any Jewish adult over 13 is technically a bar or bat mitzvah and is allowed to read from the Torah at Temple Akiba. That meant, once again, it became optional for me to follow this path. In order to preserve culture and heritage, I believe Abraham's desire for his child to marry someone of shared values still has importance today, though I think that should be a broader definition than race or religion. The must-haves for a partner for each person to preserve their traditions will be different. For Abraham, it was religion and kinship. For me, it was baseball and politics. Bottom line is mutual respect. It has been so important for Brian and I that we align in a way that leads us to be open and respectful of each other's identities, ultimately leading us to today with my husband and both of our families here supporting Melania and me as we are each called to the Torah. In my mind, the values of the institution and the people within it are often a bigger influence on our relationship to our religion than who we marry. Temple Akiba is a special place, with a religious school built on the principles of creating community and making learning fun, neither of which the Hebrew school I attended tried to do. I appreciate Rabbi Zachary and Cantor Lonnie for fostering this open, warm environment, for Rabbi's warm greeting whenever he sees us, and all the times Cantor Lonnie has included Melania and Brian in singing opportunities. Cantor Lonnie, you made learning to read Hebrew comfortable and accessible. Thank you for preparing me for tonight. Temple Akiba is a community that has welcomed the three of us, and that made me, as an adult, make a different choice when I was afforded this opportunity to fill the hole in my Jewish education. I am grateful to now feel comfortable being in this sanctuary. To my family, first and foremost, I want to thank Melania for inspiring me to take the adult B'nai Mitzvah class, and Brian for encouraging me to do it. Thanks for listening to me painfully practice for all of these months, for supporting me and for pushing me to follow through when we couldn't find a date for the service. Melania, thank you for so generously and lovingly offering to share tonight with me. I'm sorry if I have or will knock you off tune. Brian, thank you for being such an incredible husband to me. You are the kind of life partner that I dream Melania has one day. Thank you to my parents for always being there to listen and guide me, and for being the best parents and grandparents. Mommy, thank you for being an amazing Balabusta role model. Daddy, thank you for making me a Yankee fan, and for answering all of my political, historical, automotive, and home repair questions. Thank you to my siblings and siblings-in-law for putting in the effort to foster deep relationships between our families, even though we are all long distance, and for bringing these 9 amazing humans into my life that I adore. Thank you to my mother-in-law for hiring a Jewish babysitter for Brian so he was well-versed in Seders before meeting me. I want to thank you and all of the Vernons for making me a part of your traditions and family. Sue, thank you for being Brian's counterpart soulmate in my life. I'm so touched that all of the Bowen Street families came out here to celebrate and support us. I'll forever be thankful for all of my college friends who were there for me as I started figuring out my independent relationship to Judaism. Thank you to Jody DeSantis Ramos for splitting holidays with me, and to the Ramoses, Karps, Mintman Steckners, Sharon and Corey for continuing to share our special transplant holidays. Thank you to all of our relatives and friends for always being there for us, but especially for making the effort to be with us this weekend in person or virtually.
Thank you. Thank you. So Jill, it has been such a pleasure working with you, studying with you, learning from you, and teaching you, and of course your daughter at the same time. It is such a joy to not only work with Melania, but have been able to work with you, and of course share in song with Brian through many different opportunities that we've had over the last few years. So I feel so blessed that we've gotten really to know your family. I feel like half the time when we would study together, and Melania too, half the time is sort of schmoozing about our families and our life, and then the other half was getting to Hebrew. But that's the joy of all of this, is really getting to know one another and learning and sharing and growing with each other. So what a pleasure. You were incredible tonight. I know it's been a long journey, but it is so beautiful to know that you do feel comfortable, that you feel comfortable for the first time in our synagogue in a congregational setting, and that means so much to us. Thank you for sharing that gift with us, for sharing your journey with us, and for sharing your beautiful family with us. Mazel tov. Thank you. I'm going to give you a blessing.
We're going to invite Brian and Melania up to share in a ritual we have for you. And as they come up, and Josh, you as well, just a word about your Torah portion, Chaye Sarah.
Is your mic on?
Is my mic on? Yes.
Okay, good.
It begins with sharing Sarah's age, that she was 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. And it says that in a specific way. It doesn't just say 127, but 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. And our sages share that she went through many stages of her own life, just like you do. That we have a stage where we may have one relationship to society or to Judaism, and then we have another chapter, and then there's another chapter. This is a stage, an epic, a moment in your life to nurture and one to treasure. And we are all witnesses of your having reached this milestone. And just as Sarah, our matriarch, in a spiritual way celebrated those stages, thank you at this point in your life for giving reason to celebrate and allowing the rest of us to celebrate with you. We're going to offer you, first of all, mazel tov to you, again. And we're going to offer you a blessing. The two of you are going to hold this talit over her head. Yeah, oh, you don't need to open. Melania knows what to do. She's seen this a few times. Okay.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha.
May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom. Shalom.
May God's light always shine through you and grant you the gift of shalom, of peace. Amen.
Amen.
Family hug. There are so many levels of joy that we're experiencing. We now have an opportunity to take that strength and remember there are people who could use our love and our embrace of healing. If you'll place the larger chumash back in the seats and take your prayer book out, if you open to page 253, page 253, right in the center of the page is our prayer for healing, our Misha Berach. We're going to pray together the first part of it. And when we get to the center, there's an opportunity, as my eyes meet yours, to share names of people that you know who can use an extra embrace of healing. Please don't be shy. Share those names out loud so we can continue to pray together. Page 253.
Let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen.
We are going to invite the congregation, all who are able once again, to please rise as we lift and dress Torah.
Vezota Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael. Avi Adonai v'yad Moshe. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai,
Other way?
yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai.
And we turn to page 256. We continue standing to return our Torah to the ark. Eitz chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomchecha meushar derachiha tachinoam v'chonetivoteh shalom hashivinu Adonai elecha v'nashuva v'nashuva.
Even though the ark is open, we're going to invite, well, before we ask you to be seated, this is the first Shabbat of the month. And so we have one other element that we want to celebrate today. Anyone who has a birthday or an anniversary or a bat mitzvah or a special life event that you're celebrating in the month of April, we ask you to come forward. Everyone else, please be seated. So let's kind of form a little circle around here so we can see each other.
Come on up, everyone. Come up on the bima. Facing
This way,
us.
facing us.
Facing us. Yes. Very good.
Atem nitzavim hayom. You stand here today between tradition and the future. You come as lights, you come as treasures, you come as individuals who care about community. Thank you for being part of what makes tonight so special. Thank you for choosing to be with us at Temple Akiba, because without your light, we are not as great a community. So keep on coming back, keep on celebrating, keep on reminding us at how important it is to honor every life moment, because you truly make each day better for the world around us. And so we thank God for giving us life and sustaining us and bringing us to this incredible, joyful time.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Mazel tov, everyone.
Mazel
Thank you so much for being
tov.
here.
Thank you.
Go back to your seats. Please don't fall down. Okay. Okay. Friends, what an honor it is now to invite forward, representing our congregation, Sarah Fields. Sarah is a member of our Board of Trustees, and she has the position of Trustee of Engagement, which means all sorts of things. But tonight, Sarah's here representing all of our leadership, and we're so glad that you are here, Sarah.
Be here. Well, as a board member, we take turns. We sign up for a night to do the announcements. And boy, did I pick a great night. So much joy in this room tonight. It's just wonderful. We're blessed to have multiple Oneg sponsors this evening, the Soul family, who are celebrating both Jill and Melania's bat mitzvahs, and also Carla and David, who are celebrating the naming of their adorable baby. And is she good? My goodness. Look at that. A few announcements, things coming up here at the temple. You know, we have a lot of activities, so be sure and check our website, check the weekly announcements, because you could miss something really fun. There's going to be a challah braid and bake next Friday, April 12th. It starts at 4 o'clock and goes to the start of services. You can order your challah by Monday, and there's a link in the e-news. This sounds really interesting, an Ancestors' Voices workshop. That's going to be on Saturday the 13th from 11 to 2. If you come for Torah study, you can stay, or you can just RSVP. And here's what it says about it. Join this workshop from the Donna Sternberg Dance Community for the Jewish community, exploring inherited ancestral trauma through guided movement, writing, drawing, and sharing. During the workshop, we will engage in body-centered exercises facilitating emotional and psychological healing, starting with deep, slow breathing. It's an inclusive workshop aiming for healing, community connection, and envisioning a more hopeful future. No prior movement experience needed. Just bring water and wear comfortable clothing and shoes, okay? I want to welcome everyone who's here for the first time. I'm sure there are many of you, and I hope we'll see you here again. And for those who've come from a far distance, you're very welcome. And now I'd like to invite Jill back up, because we have a couple of presentations. This is your gift from Sisterhood. Thank you. And your certificate for being a bat mitzvah. And I really enjoyed your speech and listening to everything, and I wish you the best, and I hope to see you here in Shul.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay, I think I did it all. Yeah, did I forget anything? Oh, there's only one thing I always say, and that is, Temple Akiba, we want your blood. There will be another blood drive. We have them about every 3 months. If you're a blood donor, that's how often you can donate. And this one is going to be on Mitzvah Day in May. So check the temple website, go to redcross.org and sign up, because there's a tremendous need for blood.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah. Friends, our concluding prayers begin with the Aleinu. We're on page 282, about halfway down the page. We invite the congregation to rise once again.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kugye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני
melech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, echad.
Please be seated, everyone. On page 290, as we prepare for our mourner's Kaddish, I offer the following reading. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God in each hour of the 24, and each moment then. In the faces of men and women I see God, and in my own face in the glass. I find letters from God dropped in the street, and every one is signed by God's name, and I leave them where they are. For I know that wheresoever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. We remember now friends and family of our congregation who have died, who continue to live on in our hearts from their eternal resting spaces. We begin first with those for whom we are in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, including Martin Miller, Rosalind Mishkin, and Harold Gruen. Are there any other people in our space here who are observing Shloshim, the first 30 days?
My friend Rabbi Rachel Nathan Jervis.
I'm so sorry. Added to their names are the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths that occur on this Shabbat. We begin with those who have plaques in our Orfrig Memorial Room. Joyce Elkin, Shirley Fetterman, Esther Friedman, Faith June Gill, Arthur Hart, Louis Colbrand, Ida Kolb, Isidore Lyman, Leon Neller, Raymond Obst, Barry Stark, Harry Wissauer. We also remember Jack Bloom, Eve Bregman, Judith Brout, James Burns, Ruth Freinschreiber, Rose Fisher, Benjamin Friedman, Beverly Gabe, my mother-in-law Yael Galperin, Tessie Hirschman, Fleming Josephson, Ben Kotek, Jean Krupnick, Joseph Lafferman, Robert Lange, Stephen Locker, Faye Mitkovsky, Nathan Mitzman, Boris Porter, Pearl Rosenberg, Herbert Rosenberg, Paul Rudnick, Sandra Seskind, my uncle Jerry Shapiro, Max Schein, Sophia Stutz, Irving Trabish, Manny Waldman, Elizabeth Waldman, Helen Weiss. Are there additional yard sites those in the community are observing? May all their memories guide us toward goodness. On page 294, we rise as a congregation for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah v'yamad divrach rote v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael bagalau v'izman kariv imru amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam oamei omaya Yiparach v'yishtabach Viet Ba'ar, Viet Ramam, Viet Nase, Viet Adar, Viet Ale, Viet Halal, Shemei Tekudashah, B'richu, Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'decha bata, damiran bi'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May the one who causes peace to be known in the high heavens help us understand that by reaching out to one another, we create peace on earth as well. For all Israel and for all humanity, we say,
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated.
Closing our service with the singing of Oseh Shalom. And there's going to be some hand clapping, so we invite you, you can either look in your books, it's the last 3 lines of the prayer that we just read, or feel free to put your books back inside, behind your seat, or in front of your seat. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Amen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Amen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Jill, Melania, Brian, why don't you come forward to help us with the motzi? Everyone hold it.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices join in happy chorus as our prayer is humbly said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'tei